What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Modderno. He's Jahadi White. Jahadi, how are things? What's going on?
Life's good, man. No complaints this way. Just it's all about enjoying it, however
That's
you
right.
can.
Yep, that's the way to be. Been enjoying some Wizards basketball here. So there are a couple things, though, I want to nitpick about a little bit in a rebuilding year because that's what I do here on the show. But I want to talk through the Kyle Kuzma situation because that's the big thing that fans are talking about, I think, right now, just trying to keep finger on the pulse. But first, we're brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside Hard Iced Teas and Hard Lemonades and BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to the in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds and everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA, head to BetOnline today and get in the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, Johnny, I got some numbers for you. I figured kind of a good way to frame this for people aren't catching all these games, but Kuzma has played in 5 games so far this season. In his first game, he had 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover. He shot 6 of 16 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. The next game, he had 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover, was 3 of 16 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. His next game was probably his one lone good game of the season. He had 25 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 turnovers, but he was 8 of 20 from the field and 5 of 9 from 3. He missed 5 games with an injury, and since coming back in 2 games, he's had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 0 assists, 3 turnovers, was 7 of 18 from the field. And then in the most recent game, he had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 turnovers, and was 4 of 9 from the field. So just averaging that all up, so far this season, he's averaging 15.8 points, 6 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 3.2 turnovers. He's shooting 35% from the field overall and 31% from 3. And then last season, he was at 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2.7 turnovers, 46% from the field, 33% from 3. So he's down in every statistical category. By rebounds are the only thing that are almost about the same, but everywhere else he's worse. He's got more turnovers. He's shooting way worse from the field and a little worse from 3. What is going on with this dude? Like, what are you seeing when you watch him play? Is this an injury? Is this, I don't want to be here? Like, is he just not fitting in? Like, what are you seeing on the court?
So first of all, the front office, they already pretty much had a heart to heart with him, right?
You would think so.
Man, I mean, as far as like saying, hey, Kyle Kuzma, hey, I think we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to try to trade you.
Sure.
You're really on chopping block.
Yep.
Not chopping block. So for instance, but pretty much we're trying to trade you.
It's a matter of time here, right?
It's a matter of time. That's your biggest asset that we need to trade. Mm-hmm. So that's the understanding already between both the front office and Kyle Kuzma, right?
Yep.
Well, in a player's perspective, it's different. It's saying, okay, the place I've been all this time, the organization that believed in me, put me on every poster, billboard, banister, now doesn't care about me anymore. Mm-hmm. That's how a player sometimes processes this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so now he's playing, like now it's tough sometimes to play for an organization that you feel like has said, okay, we're moving forward past, like, beyond you now.
Yeah, your old news, essentially.
Right. And so it seems like he's playing that way. It seems like he's saying, I'm not going to play hard for somebody who doesn't love me anymore, care for me anymore, which isn't the case. It's a business.
Sure.
And you would think with him, with the understanding of him coming from the Lakers and how that happened, getting to the Wizards, that he's been through this before and he understands it's a business and it's the process, the way things go, that he could pretty much kind of, overcome it. Mm-hmm. But it seems like he's going through those pains again, that separation pains, and he's playing that way. You can just tell it's a point where he's playing like, I'm not going to give my all out here every day. I'm not going to die for the team or the organization and put everything on the floor. Yep. But it's also looking at him like, I'm also going to save myself. I'm not going to hurt myself or do too much to the point to where I want to make sure I sustain wherever I'm going. But the problem in the way the angle he's taking the whole thing is he's losing value.
Exactly. Well, okay, that was my next question, and that's the big question from fans. Like, is this enough of a sample size that teams around the league are like, uh-oh, like has this hurt his trade value yet? Or is this something that will eventually?
It depends. What year of his contract is he in?
This is year 2 of the revamped contract, so he has 2 more full seasons after this one, I want to say. Let me actually.
So either way, the writing is on the wall, if that's the case. Either way, the writing is on the wall. He knows sometime this year he's expected to be going somewhere else. He understands I have 2 more years on my contract somewhere else where I can play my heart out, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just the approach he's taking, right? I mean, save myself. In the end of the day, it looks like he's just trying to save himself.
It's like coasting kind of, but also he's still shooting a lot. And like, I think the biggest value he added when he was playing well was that versatility, some playmaking and things like that. But he's really been like more selfish than previously. And is that just like a F you, I'm going to get mine kind of thing? Like, or just, I don't care, or like, why would I play team ball if, I'm not really a part of the team?
Yeah. Well, it's so many factors. Mm-hmm. When we're not winning at this point.
Yeah.
We're in a rebuilding stage.
Mm-hmm.
What am I playing for? What are we playing for?
Yeah.
So now, what's the purpose? What's my purpose of playing in the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really just kind of turns to sometimes it looks like you don't care because you don't. So you're not shooting or you're not playing with a specific purpose. It's no fire. It's not like he's putting fire behind himself because he's like, I got to sustain. I'm going to get traded. So I'm going to have to be healthy where I'm going,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's just so many factors. But in the end of the day, it just looks like, he's playing like he's already moved on himself.
I got asked by a couple fans, but most recently earlier today of just, can the Wizards still get a first-round pick from him? And my initial reaction was NBA teams are a lot more patient and things like that and fans are. So I don't think this is a big enough sample size that like it's cratered his value. But if it continues on, I think it could. In the short term, you could probably say, all right, maybe like if I'm a GM, I'm saying, well, it's a bad situation. They know all the things you just explained. I can convince myself that if I bring him into my better situation here, we'll get old Kyle Kuzma, that this isn't a permanent thing. But if you get 10, 15 games in, it starts to be more of a real sample size. And I think then it hurts the Wizards' leverage, at least, in any trade negotiations. Is that a reasonable thought?
It does. It does hurt the Wizards' leverage, right? That's why he's still playing.
Mm-hmm.
They put him on IR because that's going to hurt their leverage. But also, I don't know I'm not in his head.
Sure.
I don't know if he wants to hurt the leverage.
That's a good point.
I don't think is that he's trying to miss shots on purpose.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I don't think that he's trying to everything he's doing, he's trying to play a worse game.
Yeah.
I think he's just somehow being extra careful and not really putting the passion out there of playing to win right now.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do me. That's what I see when I watch him play. It's just like I'm good here. I'm gonna get up and down. I'm gonna keep myself in kind of game shape.
I'm going to participate.
Yeah, I'm gonna participate. I'm not gonna die out here on the court for a loose ball for a team that doesn't want me and we're not winning.
Right. I mean, players go through that, man.
Sure.
You go through it when when the organization loves you and the fans love you and you got all the love and you love the city and you love you have friends and it becomes home and you're the guy and that's you understand that gets pulled under you and you still there. It's a difference if it get pulled on you and you go really fast.
Sure.
Sometimes you'd rather rip the Band-Aid off quickly and it be abrupt.
Yep.
Then you stuck in a situation where somebody no longer wants you. Right.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And I think he's going through love pains right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens.
Yeah, you're a person. Happens. Yeah, I mean, like,
and when you're going through that process, it's hard to give your all on the court, and you have to realize why you playing this game. You playing it because you love it. You're privileged to be out here, and playing. So, I get it, and it comes to a point where I'm sure he's probably at the point that he doesn't want to be there anymore. Could you hurry up and get the process going? Could you hurry up and find a team for me? I don't think he's trying to devalue himself. I don't think he's trying to make it complicated for the Wizards to get him out of there. I just think he's playing with no love and no passion right now and don't care. So it represents that, and it resonates on the court. Like, okay, he doesn't care right now. But watch when he get traded in the team he goes to. Watch his first 3 games.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see the bump in energy and hustle and all that kind of stuff, and to prove to people like, oh, I still got the juice here. That's the problem though. Like, I get it, and if you want to move on, the natural reaction is just like, I'm on a coast. But if you do want to move on, it's kind of the opposite of like, let me go out here and play the right way and show teams I can be the player that they want to trade for. And that's the most thing that will like facilitate the trade. But it's hard to get yourself to kind of see it that way, I think, in the moment.
It's hard to get yourself to see it that way, especially if you still have some time on your contract. Because you're saying, I got to be, because what happens, it becomes a selfish decision. It becomes, well, I have to be able to be healthy. Sure. Wherever I go, I have to be able to be healthy. I have to sustain. I have to now, like, save myself to make sure I can play the best I can play these next 2 years when I leave.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to get any silly injuries or any weird tweaks or put myself in any bad situations. So let me be careful and coast.
Even if he just
why my heart is broken.
Right. I mean, the point you made there is super great, because especially I think that applies to Kyle Kuzma, of like a little bit of, I was the guy here. I tried to be the adult in the room. I think by the end it was kind of clear like Brad didn't, like that situation wasn't great for him. But Kuzma was the guy taking the young guys under his wing, like going above and beyond off the court.
Yeah.
And so that stings even more when you're that guy. And now they're like, nah, you're probably going soon, even if you know it's a business.
Because I don't care how much you know it's a business, and you learn so late in your career when you just realize it's a business. It's because, and not the Wizards organization that I'm just talking about, like, it's all organizations.
Yeah.
They ask players, they give you, you got that contract, but they ask you to sacrifice for the sake of this, for the sake of that, for the love of the team. Like, we need you to do this. Come on, man. There's so many things behind it that all teams and all organizations ask you to sacrifice for, and do it for the love of the game, do it for the love of the team. And then when it comes time, they're just like, we do it. It's business. It's not personal. It's just business. Every team does it. This is not something that the Wizards are just doing solely, or that they did solely. It's just every team. So the player, that's the problem. The player is putting his heart on the line every night. Yeah. Like, we're the one that just, we putting, we're sparing our bodies. We're putting everything. We're jumping. We're taking bruises, and we're doing it for the love of the game and for the love of the organization, because we feel like we have a good rapport. We almost got a partnership.
Right. Yep. I'm invested. Like.
Right, and it never always goes the same way in the end on the other side. Now, trust you, me. with this new front office, I've seen they have proven that they're not going to just ship their players to
that's a good
to
point.
like Timbuktu, right? They gonna sit. They put the players in good situations. They put Brad in Phoenix. They put Tyus in Phoenix. They put Gafford in Dallas.
Yeah.
So
Tyus got to pick his spot, but I'm with you overall. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, yeah.
They
But
didn't.
still,
They didn't trade him somewhere.
None of the players,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They didn't trick you and try to put you in Charlotte, right? So he has to just be the adult in the room and just say, hey, this is a process.
Mm-hmm.
And let me go through the process, and I trust that they'll put me in a better place, and we can move on. And at the end of the day, yeah, you can be the man. It's hard when you're the man. It's tough not to be the man anymore.
Sure.
Because it's so rare to become the man on an NBA team or any sports team.
Only 30 of those spots, right? Or
right, it's only
30 and change.
spots. So just imagine when that gets taken away from you. That's tough.
It's a big mental reset. I don't think everybody can do it.
Big mental reset. It's huge. It's huge.
So this is the thing I wrestle with, right? Like they're holding on to players like Kuzma and Tyus and Landersham and all these other guys because they want to wait until absolute max value. But we're seeing it with Kuzma where sometimes you hang on a little too long and it starts to have that negative effect on the court. I guess at this point, is it just better to just pull the cord and get this over with? Or is there a conversation you can have with him of like, hey, look, man, we know where you're at. We get it. But like, we need you to do X, Y, and Z for us, and we will get you to a good spot. Like, can you have that talk with him, I guess?
You can. I mean, yes, you need to.
Okay.
Because, and sometimes, that's what that's what the front office don't understand. Because unless you are a player, you don't understand that pain.
Yeah.
But if you do have that talk and say, hey, we know what you're going through. We know how this is. We know it's not personal, but whatever you need to talk to him and be sincere, you may get it may feel better.
Yeah.
Because
right now, for you too, right?
Right now, the only thing that's soothing him is a paycheck.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that could only, that's one thing that, that lasts as long as that lasts. But yeah, I do agree. You said you can, get it over with, rip the Band-Aid off, but you have to have somewhere to send them. If you don't have anywhere and you don't get anything back, it's not a good deal. You got to get a good deal. So in the meantime, you have to have that discussion. You have to have that discussion with him. Hey, look.
I don't know if you saw this the other night after the Spurs game. I don't know if you got to see this the other night, but after the Spurs game, there's a picture floating around of Kuzma sitting on the bench at the end of the Spurs game and the whole rest of the team, going crazy, standing up, cheering them on as they tried to make a comeback. And he's kind of sitting with the coaches, like arms folded. And we all do like the amateur, body language doctor thing, but it wasn't a great look when you're the lone player kind of sitting there, arms folded. Once a player gets to that point, is just kind of too late.
It is. Yeah, it definitely is. Once the player get to that point, nothing you can do. He's disgruntled. We don't know why we know why, but we don't know all the pieces why he's disgruntled, but he's disgruntled. He had enough. He wants to leave now just as bad as they want him to go, and it becomes that.
And they kind of pulled him at the end of that game. Like when they made their run late, he was not out on the court in the fourth quarter. So that sends another message. Like you said, when you've been the man and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, enjoy that hardwood, buddy, or, the sitting on the pine. Like that also tells you like, all right, maybe my time here is done.
It is. I mean, it is done. I mean, that's bottom line. The time here is done. And only way it's not done if they can't get a good deal for him. But you see them going young.
Yeah.
They're willing to sacrifice, some wins right now to be able to have a chance to still be able to get some other draft picks and things. So with that said, it's not like we need you out there.
Yep.
It's not like we have to have you. Yeah, we paying you either way. Sure. And that's the only thing. When you paying somebody that much, you usually you have to play them because you want to put you got to get a return on your investment. Mm-hmm. But in this case and in this situation now, it's what return. Mm-hmm. So it's right now it's two ships passing in the night.
Last year when Jordan Poole was struggling, Brian Keith came in, moved him to the bench, and it was clear like Poole didn't love that, but he also handled it like a professional and an adult and said the right things. But you could do that with him because he was here. Like, he wasn't going anywhere. You had to find a way to kind of reset things with him, get him on the right page. And it seems to have paid real dividends. With Kyle Kuzma, like, the clock is ticking here. Like, he's a short timer no matter what the situation is. So we've seen some Wizards fans suggest like, they should bench him or bring him off the bench. I don't see them doing that, but I don't know. In your opinion, would that make it better or worse? Like, can you mentally reset with him of like, hey, Kyle, like, you're not going to start these games if you're playing a certain kind of way, or is that just going to make the situation that much worse and lead to more sulking and stuff like that?
On both ends, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it with the Wizards, and Kyle shouldn't request that be done. Reason is it's a bad look on the organization. Mm-hmm. Right? It's a bad look on the organization to where we love this guy to this point. Sure. He's not. Is he that bad of a player to where he should be coming off the bench? No. You and I both know that. Is he playing bad right now? Yes. Do we, do both parties know why? Yeah. Right? So if you react on that the wrong way, that can just hurt. That can hurt new players coming in. That can hurt a lot of things, and it can represent the organization wrong, and it could create, something with Kyle Kuzma right now that doesn't have to be created. Because in the end of the day, why are we doing it? Are we doing it so we can win?
Well, the thing I worry about, the only reason why I think he would do it is it's not just like he's just missing shots or not diving on the floor. He's taking bad shots. He's kind of taking attempts away from the other young guys. He's slinging the ball all over the place with the turnovers. So what message are you sending to the other young guys if like this dude can play through that? Like, if there's no accountability of if you do dumb shit, we're not going to take you off the court. Like, what message does that send to everyone else?
I think it's a way to do it. It's not starting him, but it's also limiting his minutes. I think what you have to do is limit his minutes. If he
knows, are down a little this year too.
If he knows I'm on a shorter rope and my rope is shorter, then my time becomes more important.
Sure.
Right. So I think that's the way you do it. Now, if you out there killing, you stay. Sure. If you want to bullshit,
enjoy the bench.
We don't have a problem shortening the rope. That's when, if he knows, okay, they don't have a problem shortening this rope in my time, right? I like that. Then it's going to be a point that's going to come that you want. I don't care what he says. I don't care how mad you are. He's been playing basketball since he's been growing up. He has an affinity and love for this game. It beats through his blood. I mean, it just pumps through his blood, obviously. So that rope getting shorter will
sends a message, right?
Yeah, send a message, and it may trigger something.
Sure. I like that. I think that's a really good call. Ace of Stripe asked in the chat here, does he feel disconnected now that the young guys are kind of taking over and becoming more integral to the team? I don't see that piece of it, but
every veteran does. Okay. When Kyle came in this game, it's different than what it is now. Sure, he didn't come in the game and all the players was on their phones at halftime looking at going through Instagram and FaceTime. You know what I'm saying?
He is 11 years older than Bub.
Right.
That's fair.
Reality is kicking his ass. I'm older. I might not have that many more years to play. It's a new kid's game now. I got to figure out how to sustain. A lot of things are happening, right? So, and that's another thing. He realizes, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not the spring chicken anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's reality. So many realities just smacking them in the face along with this. So, I mean, that's nothing new. That's, it's a process. It's the way of the game.
I've been in the same office at my job for 16 years now. And at some point I looked around and I'm like, I'm kind of the only one left from when I came in. And I look, there was definitely that took an adjustment period of like, all right, well, there's a whole new group of faces I got to get used to. And then for Kyle Kuzma, it's, Monte Morris and some of the guys that were his buddies moved on. And he was fairly tight with Denny by all accounts. And Denny's gone. And you look around the locker room and you're like, I don't really know many of these dudes.
I'm just here.
Right. And it's clear like he and Poole don't really seem to rock with each other that much. So at a certain point, you're like, all right, I'm gonna do me because I'm just kind of on my own anyway. And you're hearing less about, oh, Kyle Kuzma took me under his wing, like all these things. And so I think maybe there's something there to that disconnect. I just don't know if it's like, F the young guys. It's just in general, like it may not be his dudes.
It's not F the young guys. What it is you have more in common with the coaches now than you have with the teammates.
Once you hit like around 30, that probably
you got more in common with the coaches now that you have with your teammates. And if everything is good and everything is firing on all cylinders and the relationship is good, you would take those guys under your wing, right?
Also, how hard are you going to try to fit in with these dudes too when you're a short timer?
True. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Yeah. Right. That's my whole point. Mm-hmm. But also, you really don't have anything in common with those kids other than basketball. Yeah. Like we don't go to the same restaurants. We don't hang out with the same people.
I don't listen to the same music.
We don't listen to the same music. I don't play video games. And the world is moving much faster, and so the space between just a few years to 5 years is that far apart now.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
So he doesn't relate to a lot of the players in there. He's doing his job. He's enjoying being in the locker room. He's enjoying watching what's going on. But he's the older guy sitting back watching more than and you're gonna either watch or you're gonna leave. Mm-hmm. And if the situation isn't good for him, most likely, it determines if you're going to be a watcher or a leader.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ace of Stripe said, are they giving Poole a different message than Kuzma? I mean, I think so, right? Like they're just in different positions in the organization. They're different ages. Like it just makes sense.
Changing of the guards, man.
Yep.
I mean, it's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Poole's and look, Poole's making it happen. I mean, what do? You can't. This is a business.
Yeah, you can't treat them the same way.
You got to sell tickets.
Yep.
Who's the guy now who can sell the tickets?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's the face of the franchise.
Yep.
And faces of the franchise always change. Mm-hmm. It's just a changing of the guards, and the person who, and it's hard to swallow that pill when you start kind of creeping to the background, back into those bushes. The new guy come back out like, okay. Especially the guy that you was like, hey man, hey, we need to do things this way. I'm gonna show you the ropes. I'm talking with my chest out. Now, all of a sudden, now that guy's in my spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ego thing. It's a pride thing.
Yeah.
These are ultimate competitors.
Yeah, it factors in for sure. Byron Man 12 said the fact that Kuzma came into the new season completely out of shape is inexcusable. Dude is checked out. I think that sends a message too. Like, how hard am I going to work in the summer for a team that I'm likely to move on from here pretty quickly?
Well, you knew it. I mean, it's tough. Listen, this is not the place I'm gonna be. Most likely, I'm not going to stay. They tried to trade me during the summertime or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, what are you going back to? I mean, that's the reality of it.
No, I mean, it's a human response, right?
It's a human response. It's a human response, and and people forget that basketball is a business.
Mm-hmm. T-Sol ND06 said, how do off-court businesses like his coffee shop and fast casual restaurant take attention away from the game? I don't think that has anything to do with what we're seeing out there. Like, plenty of guys have lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, basketball is so much of your life. You almost have to do something to try to like separate yourself sometimes and free yourself from it, because you're so connected to it. And if you don't, you will end up spending all your time just on basketball, and it's as even if it's your job, that's just as unhealthy if you don't as if exactly. you don't do it. So those type of new investments and things gets you to stimulate yourself back into the world, because basketball, it can be so consuming that you're not part of the world anymore.
And I can guarantee you he's got other people that are managing the restaurant. Yeah. Like he's not the guy in the back, crunching the numbers and stuff like that.
He's not crunching the numbers or taste testing the fries. He's not doing all that. Like,
yeah,
believe you me, like that's not what he's doing. So,
Uptown Dre said Valanciunas stock is up big time. We'll save the Valanciunas talk, so we'll circle back to you. Mark Salmon said, I looked this morning and the team is currently dead last in defensive efficiency. I realize they can't rebound, but with all those long arms and active feel, I was hoping for better. So just a few numbers on that I pulled to talk about. So good segue. The team is averaging 110.2 points per game. That's 20th in the league. They're giving up 123.4 points per game. That's 30th in the league. They're 103.1 in pace, which is third in the league. So they're playing fast. Their offensive rating is 106.8, which is 28th in the league. Their defensive rating is 119.6. That's 30th in the league. And that's a minus 12 net rating, minus 12.8 net rating, which is 30th in the league. So they're pretty much the bottom of everything here, and that's why they're 2-8. It's the third worst record in the league. Toronto is worse at 2-10. Philly is worse at 2-9, and that's Embiid just came back. Philly will not stay worse, but it's basically them in Toronto right now, kind of a race for the bottom. So I'm with you, Mark. I think a lot of this is by design, but you would like to see, a little more effort on the defensive end, or I don't know. It's maybe this is too much to expect of Brian Keefe to scheme this away, but like there are teams that are untalented sometimes that overachieve because of effort and youth and fresh legs and things like that. But I don't know, Jahadi, when you're starting three rookies as much as they are, you're never going to be a good defensive team in the NBA, right?
You're not. You're just not. Because they're when you're starting three rookies, it's just a lot of guys just learning the league, right? And it's the league defense and rebounding is such. It's so many small nuances of just experience. That if you don't have it, it's no one's. I hate to say it, but it's the blind leading the blind.
Right.
There's no one out there that so everything is taught now off of going through it. I have to learn. I have to learn on the fly, and I'm not learning from my teammates. I'm learning from what happens to me.
You're out there with Poole, who's been better this year defensively, but not like known as a defender. Kuzma's not defending anybody. Corey's not defending anybody. Valanciunas can't move his feet enough to do that at a high level anymore. So it's really Coulibaly who's doing it on instinct, and that's your lone defender.
It's all Coulibaly, the only defender, actual plays defense with a purpose.
Right.
It's Coulibaly, right? Mm-hmm. So other than him, and it hasn't resonated or it's not infectious to the rest of the team yet. Mm-hmm. So I expected Sarr to be a much better defender than we're getting out of him right now. It's not that he's not, because you're just seeing him make
careless mistakes. Exactly.
Rookie mistakes. Yeah. But I expect him to learn a little bit faster than he's learning, right? Mm-hmm. And be more effective defensive-wise and on both ends. I don't see him protecting the basket. With his size and height and his athletic ability, I would think he would be one of the premier guys who protect the basket in the league.
There are some nights where I think that, and stretches where I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. He had 2 consecutive blocks or whatever, and then he just kind of will float for a while. And
because it's not important. He doesn't care about it as much. He reminds me of James Wiseman, right?
Okay.
James Wiseman, I remember watching him. He would protect the basket 2 or 3, 4 blocks in a row, which now he can do it anytime.
Yeah.
And then he just go cold and it's not important to him, right? I don't feel like working that hard to protect the basket every day. He doesn't feel like it's his job, right? Like that with him should be one of his sole purposes being out there, right? Because right now, other than that, we're just getting 3-point shooting from him.
I haven't been as worried about the defense. I think especially when he's the lone big, I think the effort to block everything is there for a while. He also gets kind of sealed up by bigger bigs, and that's where he's not fighting through it, not going for rebounds as much. I'm more worried about the rebounding than I am like the rim protection at this point. But what you said about the 3-point shooting, I want to say, I don't want to misattribute this. I think it was Greg Finberg tweeted this out, but he's shooting 50% from 2, and I think 18% from 3. And it's like, at some point, the message should get through to you that like, what am I better at right now? Maybe I should try to do more of that.
But right now, they just have him behind the arc.
Yeah.
So now I don't really see how useful he is in our offensive scheme.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't really get that with all that size, I'm working on him becoming a 15-foot shooter, a slasher, a floater.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to see him drive.
Get downhill.
Yeah.
But it's just shooting it, make a miss. So now I'm like, well, really all we have is a 7-foot spot up shooter. Why?
Right.
Like, we got to really create something with him because you could tell his body. I mean, he has an amazing body type. He's athletic. You have to kind of force him to expand his game and to force him to grow.
Yeah. Mark said Keith's comments make it seem like he definitely wants Sarr taking a lot of threes. And, maybe they're just saying this is the year to experiment and rep it out and refine things. But you're also just setting a bad precedent to me of like, I get people want to be 5 out, but you can't just start from a place of like, oh, I'm a 3-point shooter because I shoot a lot of threes. Like, you got to work your way up to that. Like, give him some other like basic foundation of stuff he can do. Why not as a rim runner and pick and roll with Poole? Like, just something other to get him a few easier looks around the basket.
Yeah, you have to earn the right to take that many threes.
Yeah, I would think so, or at least show you can make them.
And the right has to be based on field goal percentage to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like Keyshawn was abysmal shooting 3 at the start of the year, but they kept letting him take him. And that's going to have to be his role in the league. And he also has a track record. Like, in Miami, he didn't take a ton, but he was a 40% 3-point shooter. Like, he can shoot. They probably see that in practice every day. Sarr is not known as a 3-point shooter. So for me, if it's like, all right, I know this guy can shoot, I'll let him play his way out of it a little bit, give him some leash to do that. Makes sense. For Sarr, it's like, bro, get your big ass around the rim, like at least some of the time.
This year, to me, for Sarr, is a mistake year. If we turn the ball over, we turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Figure out how to get downhill. Figure out how to get to your spots in 15 feet. Figure out how to pick and pop. Figure out how to slash, roll. Figure out how, if you don't want to go and dunk on somebody, figure out how to get a little floater off, right? I feel like Valanciunas takes more high percentage shots than Sarr.
Absolutely.
And it
without
should
question.
be that way.
Yep.
And he touches the ball much more than Sarr.
100% with that.
But it's because of the positions he put himself in.
Yep.
Right. He puts himself in positions on the floor that I have easier access to the ball or to receiving the ball. If I'm just in the corner the whole damn time, all I can do is get a corner pass for a 3-pointer.
Is that him putting himself in positions to do that, or the team setting him up, or we just don't know?
I think it has to be. It's both because no matter what, you're going to do what the offense dictates that you do.
Sure.
Right. If that's where I'm supposed to be, that's where I'm supposed to be. He's not. He's a 4 guy, and so it's one in. It's usually it look like it's 4 out, 1 in.
Mm-hmm.
So either he's going to be a wing or the corner.
Yeah.
So it's what they're telling him to be. It's not all him. I'm not blaming on him, but yeah, you got to be in the situation. And then if you're in the corner, can you really get downhill? You can only get downhill one way. Otherwise, you're going out of bounds. But he put him at the wing.
I agree. I mean, you've capped what he can do, and that's the thing that drives me a little crazy here. It's like exactly what you said is what I think every game. Like, I would rather see you pump fake and try to drive this, and if you turn it over, I don't give a shit. Like,
because eventually you're gonna figure out.
Yeah, what works, what doesn't. Try to go dunk on some guy, like or float over him, or do a little jump hook. Like, I'd be working every day after practice with Valanciunas on. Here's my little over my left shoulder jump hook. Something. Just have one move. Even if you got one move, it's just it gives you so much more you can do if you've got that one thing to go to.
He should be able to have the versatility of Koulibaly right now, right? Okay. As far as not saying he's as versatile as Bilal, but he should have the freedom of the versatility.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right?
Really go nuts.
Go nuts. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, we're going to have to pull you back and say, okay, you're not effective with this at all. Right. But
we tried it, yeah.
But, the thing is, only way you can get to that point is if you make a ton of mistakes. Mm-hmm. We need him to make those ton of mistakes now, because who's there on the only person who can really teach him? Some good downhill players on our team right now. Kuzma's a good downhill player, not bad.
He's probably the best one in most years.
Yeah, so he don't really have too many guys he can go to learn from. Yeah. So I mean, you're just gonna have to learn by being in the fire.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the Kuzma thing, this is the other thing I want to mention, and this is just an observation, and Riley Richards on Twitter pointed this out. This is with Kyle Kuzma out on the court. Bub Carrington is averaging 3.8 assists and 3 rebounds. Without Kyle Kuzma, he averages 6.4 assists and 6 rebounds. With Kyle Kuzma, Koulibaly averages 13 points a game. Without him, he averages about 18 points a game. For Keyshawn, he averages about 5.8 points and 2.8 rebounds with Kuzma out on the team or out on the court, and 13.8 points and 5.8 rebounds. So, I mean, it makes sense, right? There's a vacuum of touches that somebody has to fill when Kuzma's not out there. But if your goal this year is to maximize those guys' development, like especially Koulibaly, right? Like, he is considerably less assertive when Kuzma is out on the floor for him. And these last couple games, like in the last game against San Antonio, he was 2 for 5 in 38 minutes. He had 6 points. The game before that, 5 of 9 for 11 points. And that was coming after a night where he went 9 of 11 for 20 points. So it's like, he's had a 27-point game this year, a 22-point game this year, a 23-point game this year. And last night or 2 nights ago, he had 6. So at some point, like, I think they just defer to guys like Kuzma too much. Like, I would rather see Koulibaly get it off the rim and take it coast to coast and try to force the issue a little bit more. But he's just seemingly not wired that way. Like, they defer too much to the vets, I guess, is what I see.
Well, you naturally defer.
Yeah, and it's
think about it. Think about it if you Bilal, right? Mm-hmm. You're naturally going to defer to Kuzma because when you got there, Kuzma was the man. He demanded the ball. They demanded you give him the ball. He was a guy that you had to give the ball to, mm-hmm. Right? Like, yep. I mean, it's a pecking order.
Sure.
So now he's programmed to naturally defer to Kuzma.
Yep.
Right? And so only way that you're going to get a better Koulibaly is to get Kuzma, have to take Kuzma because he's programmed that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, once you've got that as the setting, the default there, like
yeah. It's been routine so long.
That happened with Denny. We saw that last year,
and it's a respect thing.
Sure,
that's a respect thing. That like he's he's a young guy. Kuzma was his vet, probably took him under his wing, taught him so much. It's a respect factor to where now, I respect this. I got to give it to him, And so it's just like you said, it's the default setting.
If you're the coaching staff and you see that, though, that should be concerning to you of him taking 5-6 shots in a game. Like this is the year where you want Coulibaly, like you said, having that freedom to play from the six.
Yeah. And he has much more, and he looks. I mean, look, man, you got to give it to the guy. He's playing well. He's looking great. You're rooting for him. He's a easy guy to want to root for.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, absolutely. But you're not going to get him to say, "Hey, man, forget that guy. You got to, just."
He just doesn't have that.
He can't imagine. He can't even fathom in his own head waving Kuzma off.
Right. Yeah, it's just not how he plays.
It's just not how it's set up. It wasn't set up that way. And he's a good kid, so he's a respectful kid.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. So if this is the year to prioritize his development, I think that's another reason why the clock is ticking for you to go ahead and make that move. And we saw with Denny, he blossomed, with Kuzma out of the lineup a little bit last year too. And I kind of didn't want to admit that at the time because I thought they did have some good chemistry, but like when Coulibaly is noticeably deferential, like you got to force the action here a little bit if he's not going to do it himself. So even if it's staggering their minutes, something, you have to find a way to you are the man out there on the court. Like you're the top of the pecking order. Like you go at people.
Yeah, you got to clear the way for him. Right. So you had to move the pieces out of the way. Otherwise, he would never have grown. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you have to be forced to be the man.
Yeah.
Like everybody doesn't have it in them to just like, hey, I'm a dog. I'm an Anthony Edwards you. And I don't care who you were, what you were to this team is a new chief. That's just not how it is. Yeah. So you have to give the team to.
Yeah, if you're surrounded by 3 other rookies, you're like, oh, I guess I better do something.
I'm the vet now.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm the man now.
I'm suddenly the vet now.
Yeah.
And just how I go.
Totally agree. And I don't think he seems to have those problems when it's just him and Poole. So you can work around one high usage vet.
He feels like he's equal to Poole.
Yeah, right. There's a much more of more chemistry, more dynamic, something there. At least, all right, I'm the number 2 option.
They pretty much came in at the same time, right? Came to the Wizards at the same time?
Right, both new last year. So
exactly. So they equal.
While Poole struggled too, right? So it's a little probably easier footing than it's not as much of he's the man kind of thing, and they're closer in age. So I get it. Speaking of Poole, he went supernova against San Antonio. That was cool to see. 42 points, 6 assists, 15 of 22 from the field, 6 of 9 from 3, and 2 steals. The amount of deflections he's getting right now is crazy. And I always said this was the Gilbert Arenas thing too. Like if you weren't going to be a good defender, at least cause some chaos and cause some havoc and get your hand on balls and be disruptive and make them think that, you might get in the way of a pass. So I don't know. I'm not assuming he's going to shoot 15 and 22 most nights, but I'm liking everything I'm seeing from Jordan Poole right now. And I'm man enough to admit, I was very critical of his play last year. He's doing all the right things right now. Anything else other than that is a nitpick.
Well, everybody was critical of Jordan Poole.
Sure.
And it was because you had to be. It was a critical performance every night.
It wasn't good. I mean,
it's just what it was.
Yeah.
But you had but you didn't realize what Jordan Poole was trying to go through, right? It seemed like he was pressing. He was pressing to be the man. Everything was pressing because of the pressure. But he realized most of that pressure he put on himself.
Yep.
So when he stopped, this is my perspective. Sure. When he stopped putting on that pressure and say, no matter what, I'm gonna be here. No matter what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. No matter what, I'm gonna play anyway. And the pressure revealed itself because of and he now just chilled.
You can feel comfortable, right?
He's comfortable in his confidence. He's confident and comfortable, and he's playing that way. And now you're like, oh, he really is he really can play. He really is the man. You know, and I'm proud. I'm happy for him because
Same.
you know the way things were going last year, it got to the point it could put a bad taste in your mouth. You know, and now he's just out there, comfortable, confident, and you look and you're not looking at him saying, "Ooh, that's a bad shot," even though it's probably way beyond the arc.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, I'm confident and comfortable that he can knock that down most times he take it. Right. And I just like the way he's playing out there.
He's still going to take a couple like head scratchers here and there and things like that. But like, that's the kind of player he is. But
he's a head scratcher style player.
Exactly right. And it's just, if you're doing all the right things otherwise, like, I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you the freedom to take a couple of those a game if I'm Brian Keefe. Like, you're moving the ball, you know, he still like turns the ball over a little too much. He's averaging 4.4 assists to 3.5 turnovers. You'd like to see that improve, but still, for the most part, like he's still trying to do the right things, and he's just going to be that kind of guy. Like, he's never going to be like the craziest high efficiency, guy from a ball security perspective. Like, it's okay. Like, I could live with that if he's shooting a reasonable volume. He's averaging, he's shooting 46% from the field and 44.4% from three, which is incredible. I don't expect him to keep that up, but overall, he's still, he's doing what you need him to do. So no notes, just keep rocking, Jordan Poole.
Yeah, same. You know, and the head scratches are only based on makes and misses.
Right.
If it's a make, it's an incredible shot.
Yeah, exactly. It's a no yes shot, but
yeah, if the miss is like, well, you take that damn shot. But that's what it's based on.
I think some of those things are okay too, like, because those are ones like your team gets so hyped if you hit a 28-footer. It's like you almost get like 3.5 points out of it. You know, like it has extra value added sometimes.
It's a morale booster.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
So take it.
Yep. Keep rocking. All right. Last thing I want to ask you about Jahadi. This is not a Wizards related thing, and I don't know if you saw this, but Auburn basketball a couple nights ago, one of their younger players, Jahadi Howard, this video is going around on Twitter of him sulking every time one of his teammates hit a three and just like absolutely pouting. And then we hear reports during 2 nights later in their next game, they're on the flight to play against Houston. And it gets tweeted out that the team had to turn the plane around because 2 basketball players were fighting. So Howard, a rookie who had some problems at Overtime Elite with things like this, and a senior player on the team exchanged fists, let's say, and had to actually turn a jet around to go back. And then the team came back without them later in the night. I'm assuming nothing that extreme, but players fight in the locker room. If this happens in the locker room, we never hear about it and it's no big deal. But have you ever seen anything that crazy where they had to turn a plane around because some guys going at each other?
I heard of the Mile High Club, but I never heard of that one. That's a different Mile High Club. Like, you are a member.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You become a member of, I don't know which one, the Mile High Fight Club.
You're effing around up there somehow. Yeah.
Right. I did see it, and it's tough because the guy was wide open a lot of times. Like, sure. It comes to a point out the wire, you're like, damn, pass the ball.
Yeah, right.
But the guy was hot as well.
He was making them, yeah.
Time was your day. Yeah. But damn, you had 3 guys on you. You know, sometimes you got to pass it, but sure. When you hot, you hot. The thing is, and just be honest, a coach has to have control of his team.
Yeah, that was my first thought. The third time the guy was mad his teammate made a shot, he would have been on the bench. I mean,
I wouldn't put him on the bench because, especially if he's one of my good players, and he felt like you made it to Auburn because you're a great player.
Sure. I think he was a 5-star recruit at one point.
Yeah. So, like, do you feel like you deserve to touch the ball? Yes. Do I feel like you deserve to be out there? You out there because you can play, right? So you should touch the ball, right? Guy was hot, guaranteed. But okay, next game. Look, look, you were hot, but this is a team game. This is college. This ain't the NBA where you can shoot 1,000 shots,
Sure.
right? Distribute the ball. Great game. Move the damn ball. It just because me as a coach, at the end of the day, I need y'all to run my system. Not your system. So, I mean, how many points did the guy get? That 40 something.
I remember in the 30 range. I want to say. Let me check.
This is college. This college ain't no 30 points in college.
It does not happen very often.
It's college. This ain't. You don't get to shoot. You don't get to score 30 in college. I don't care how great you are. Right. You're not scoring 30 on my team.
It's tough though. Like it's the thing we talked about with pecking order. It's a senior guard, who's been a pretty good player at other stops at Georgia Tech, but when the rookie is the one like actively upset every time that dude makes a shot, like it's just a bad look, and your veteran teammates are seeing that too. He actually only had 21, Jahadi. He went 7 of 11 and 7 of 9 from 3, but he only played 18 minutes, so he was getting them
hot.
Up.
He was just hot. He was just hot. So I mean, but it was 2 times I saw the guy shoot the ball.
Yeah, and he was wide open in the corner.
Yeah. He had 3 guys on him.
Right. His teammates were wide open.
He was wide open in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't care how hot you are. We're playing basketball here.
For sure. But these aren't the 2 guys that fought either, too, which is, I think it was some other veteran, Jaheim Hudson, who was a junior.
The coach seemed like he doesn't have good control of that team.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, Bruce Pearl's kind of a different sort of dude, but
well, my thing is this: it comes to a point to where you have to be in fear of fighting.
Yeah, there's actual repercussions.
The consequences,
right?
Because good players always come from different backgrounds and really intense, and
sure,
you're gonna get all types of walk of life in college. So
it's gonna happen, right? Like guys,
everybody is not as good. Have perfect character and not combative in college. It just don't happen. So you have to control all different types of personalities, alphas, strong personalities, people who wants to fight first and can't communicate without fighting. It's all type of things. But the fact that you get those 2 incidents back to back, that's a reflection on the coach.
Do you suspend a guy? Can you give him one pass and you talk to him, and then if it happens again, everybody's off the team? Like, how do you handle that if you're a coach then?
Well, the thing is it's a bad look on the university.
I agree.
So before you even decide what you're going to do, the university is going to have back at the coach like what I don't think that type of thing, a fight on the plane that the university has to pay for. It gets turned around because obviously there's more money spent somehow. They have to refuel and go again, and just so many things.
If you do that on a public plane, it's a felony. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, it's
right. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's bigger than the coach.
The sad thing is they went out and beat a top 2 in the country Houston team after that. Like Auburn is the number 1 team in the country based on analytics, and this is what we're talking about.
But that's probably why. You got a lot of strong personality. Look, listen, man. I always say this: the best teams either have a lot of chemistry or have a lot of inside turmoil that you just fire. But that same
fuels
fire,
everybody. Yeah,
that same fire is the same fire they bring on the court. You got a lot of fighters on your team. Usually you have a lot of fighters and passionate people on the court too.
You got to channel them the right way at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I heard that one. I was like, wait, come again? They had to turn the plane around because these dudes went at it. There was one year, Tony Allen and somebody tried to beat each other up on a flight. I remember that, but I had never heard of them actually going, a mid-air flight turning around because of that's next level.
It's not surprising though. I'll be honest.
It's going to happen more and more too. You had the guy at Memphis that went into Penny Hardaway's office and said hey, I need more money, coach, or I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
Like that. It's That's
This
crazy.
this is not college anymore.
It's pro. Yeah.
This is the pros.
Yep.
And you're gonna get pro problems.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting on the plane is guaranteed a pro problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually over somebody not paying their gambling debt.
If you could just hold a scholarship over those players' head,
yeah.
Okay, something happens, you lose your scholarship, you out of here.
Mm.
That situation wouldn't happen.
Yep. Now it's not that important anymore. You know.
Yeah, I'm making money just like you, coach.
Yeah, right. Maybe more. So you know. All right. Just had to talk about that one with you just because I heard that. I was just like, what is going on? But I think that's all I got for you, Jahadi. Anything you want to end us with or anything?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Cool. All right, everybody. That's another Believe in Wizards. Appreciate you, partner. Everybody, you know the drill. Hit that like button for us on YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. We always appreciate all that stuff. We're presented by betonline.ag, and we will catch y'all next time.
Peace.